It's 3 a.m. You're wide awake. Not because the coffee was too strong or the room was too warm, but because the numbers aren't balancing and the calculator screen has become a mirror reflecting a deep, uncomfortable truth. Financial anxiety is your most faithful, unwanted companion. You are lying there, staring at the ceiling, and the silence amplifies a single persistent sound, the grinding anxiety in your chest. This isn't just about budgeting. Not really. You've downloaded all the apps, read all the books, and meticulously tracked expenditures, yet the fear never truly dissipates. This is deeper. It's the silent, paralyzing question that whispers, what if I never catch up? What if I'm fundamentally incapable of building true, lasting security? This is the invisible struggle that financial planners never mention in their spreadsheets. It's the war waged not in the bank account, but in the belief system. Think about the last time money came up unexpectedly. A large bill, an investment opportunity, or even just planning a well-deserved vacation. Did a subtle contraction seize you? A tightening in the shoulders? A sudden rush of dread? That physical reaction is not purely a reflection of your current account balance. It's a reflection of your deep-seated psychological relationship with wealth. You work hard, harder than most people you know. Yet you feel a chronic sense of running in place, perpetually fighting just to survive while others seem to glide effortlessly into success. That internal tension, that frustrating gap between your effort and your reward, is the unseen antagonist in your life story. For too long, we've treated money like a foreign object, something cold, mathematical, and external. We've chased it, cornered it, tried to force it into submission using sheer willpower and endless hustle. And yet, for many of us, the harder we grasp, the more slippery abundance becomes. We look at successful people and categorize them as lucky or inherently different, while simultaneously diminishing our own efforts. This internal dialogue creates a cruel paradox. We deeply desire prosperity, yet we harbor profound, often unspoken, belief that we are somehow unworthy of receiving or sustaining it. This belief acts as a massive psychological dam, holding back the financial flow that your conscious effort is trying desperately to create. I want to talk about that unworthiness. It's the voice saying, if you have a lot of money, you'll lose yourself, or wealth is only achieved through ethical compromise and grinding effort. These aren't just random thoughts. They are deeply grooved neural pathways, established decades ago, often before you could even read a balance sheet. They form the money script that runs your life on autopilot. You see the effects every day. The subtle self-sabotage when a breakthrough is near, the guilt that follows a necessary large purchase, the sudden, inexplicable urge to spend down your savings right as they reach a comfortable level. These are not failures of discipline. They are manifestations of psychological misalignment. They signal an internal conflict, where one part of you desperately wants to thrive, and another part believes thriving is fundamentally dangerous or corrupting. The crucial, urgent revelation is that you are not broken. You are simply running outdated software. Your current financial reality is not a life sentence. It is merely the reflection of beliefs you adopted unknowingly. This journey we are starting now is not another lecture on budgeting. It is an expedition into your own subconscious to identify and deactivate the programs that are actively repelling the abundance you claim to crave. We are going to stop fighting external circumstances and start mastering the internal landscape. We are going to investigate the origins of that 3 a.m. anxiety and discover how to fundamentally rewire your financial destiny. This transformation requires courage, vulnerability, and a willingness to look honestly at the emotional residue that money holds for you. Are you ready to admit that the biggest barrier to your next financial level is currently residing between your ears? If the answer is yes, we must first confront the historical archives of your mind. To truly heal a wound, you must know exactly how it was inflicted. We just talked about the anxiety and the self-sabotage that plays out in your adult life, but now we must become forensic investigators of your personal past. Your current financial identity is not an original creation. It is a meticulously crafted mosaic of absorbed lessons and emotional reactions from your earliest experiences. It is a legacy you unknowingly inherited. Imagine your childhood home was a financial laboratory, and every conversation, every reaction to bills, debt, or purchasing was an experiment whose data you internalized without filtering. Think back to the atmosphere of your upbringing. Was money spoken with hushed reverence, treated as a dangerous secret, or openly fought over, resulting in constant stress and tension? Was it the source of shame, leading to whispered apologies and tightened budgets? Or was it perceived as something freely available, flowing easily and used as a tool for generosity and connection? Your parents, caregivers, and community were your first financial teachers, and their lessons, delivered often non-verbally through body language and mood, were downloaded directly into your emotional operating system. If you heard, "We can't afford that," enough times, your brain didn't just log it as a temporary statement of fact. It coded it as a permanent truth about scarcity that applies specifically to you. If you witness successful people being consistently characterized as greedy, exploitative, or morally compromised, your subconscious created a profound protective barrier. If I become wealthy, I will become bad or isolated. This is the subtle, powerful programming that now runs your adult financial decisions, often in direct opposition to your conscious goals. We call these deep, often contradictory, internalized rules money scripts. These scripts operate on a profound level, dictating how much you save, spend, earn, and even how much effort you allow yourself to expend before finding a way to self-sabotage. Let's look at a few common scripts and see which one feels like it wrote the plot of your life. The first is money avoidance. This script dictates that money is inherently negative, anxiety-producing, or even spiritually compromising. It leads to habits like neglecting bills, avoiding checking financial statements, or unconsciously driving away opportunities for a higher income, because deep down, the feeling of lack in virtue feels safer than the perceived burden and complexity of wealth. People with this script prioritize comfort and moral simplicity over financial complexity. The second is money worship. This script operates on the belief that money is the only source of happiness, security, and true love. People running the script chase income relentlessly, often sacrificing their relationships, health, and personal values, yet they never feel satisfied. They confuse net worth with self-worth. The deeper emotional void cannot be filled by currency, and they often struggle with keeping money because the manic chase itself is the goal, not the stability. The third, and perhaps the most crippling for the high achiever, is the money status script. Wealth must be displayed. Success is defined entirely by what others see. This leads to severe lifestyle inflation, massive debt accumulation, and a constant, exhausting feeling of needing to prove your worth through expensive consumption. This script keeps you on a fast treadmill, earning more only to spend faster, always worried about the next purchase that will validate your existence to the outside world. Recognizing your script is the moment of liberation. It's like discovering the invisible handcuffs that have dictated your movements. You are not these automatic behaviors. You are the one observing these behaviors. Pause for a moment and consider, which of these narratives feels like it's been the silent author of your story? What was the dominant financial emotion in your home? Fear, resentment, shame, or ease? You are moving from being the unconscious actor in a play written by your childhood to the conscious director of your future. This awareness, this deep historical dive, is step one in dismantling the limitations. If you can name the ghost, you can banish its power. The next step is confronting the specific lies that ghost tells you every day. We've identified the roots of the programming. Now it's time to prune the poisonous foliage. Limiting beliefs are sticky, insidious traps. They disguise themselves as common sense, hard economic facts, or even protective wisdom. You might genuinely believe, for instance, that there's only so much pie to go around, or that if I succeed financially, someone else must suffer or fail for me to get ahead. These are not universal laws or objective truths. They are scarcity myths passed down through generations of fear and ignorance. Let's dissect three of the most corrosive myths that keep the most capable, hard-working individuals financially restricted and immediately install an empowering truth in their place. This is where we initiate cognitive restructuring. Myth 1. Money is scarce and opportunity is limited. This belief keeps you competitive, defensive, and perpetually focused on lack. It triggers anxiety every time a peer or competitor succeeds, making you feel drained and jealous rather than inspired. The scarcity mindset locks you into a zero-sum game, forcing you to fight for crumbs in a world where whole bakeries are constantly being built. The new truth: prosperity is renewable and infinite. This isn't just fluffy optimism. It's an economic reality rooted in value creation. Wealth is generated through innovation, strategic contribution, and leveraging connection. When you create massive value, you don't take it from someone else. You expand the total available capacity for everyone. The new affirmation is, my success creates pathways for other success, and their thriving inspires mine. I operate from a place of limitless creation and contribution. Myth 2. I have to work agonizingly hard, sacrificing my happiness and well-being to deserve wealth. This belief is the primary engine of burnout and self-rejection. It ties worthiness directly to suffering and pain, meaning that if things flow easily, you feel instantly guilty, undeserving, or suspicious. This script often makes you reject high-leverage, high-impact opportunities because they feel too easy to be legitimate or earned. You believe the only valuable path is the path of struggle. The new truth: prosperity can flow to me easily and joyfully, aligning effort with purpose and flow. Wealth accumulation is about strategic focus and high-value contribution, not necessarily brute force or time spent suffering. When you operate consistently in your zone of genius, you create massive value with less friction. The new affirmation: I am worthy of receiving abundance with ease and grace. My energy and time are valuable resources that I align with joyful, high-impact work. Ease is a sign of alignment, not inadequacy. Myth 3. Being wealthy means being fundamentally different or ethically compromised. This belief is often inherited from cultural narratives that paint the rich as villains or morally bankrupt. It creates profound self-sabotage because, as you start to earn more, the inner conflict between your desired identity, good, ethical person, and your perceived wealthy identity, bad, corrupted person, causes you to pull back, spend recklessly to rid yourself of the tainted money, or simply give up before you hit that uncomfortable earning threshold. The new truth: wealth amplifies who I already am. I choose to be a force for immense good with my resources. Money is merely a tool, a resource amplifier, ethically neutral. If you are generous, money allows greater generosity and reach. If you're focused on solving problems, money gives you the power to solve bigger, systemic problems. The new affirmation: I am an ethical, responsible steward of wealth. My financial growth is directly proportional to the positive impact and value I create in the world. My wealth serves my integrity. The goal of this reframing is not just to repeat nice words in the mirror, but to actively challenge the old tapes every single time they play. When that voice says, you can't afford that opportunity, stop and challenge it. Is that a fact, or is that a program I inherited? By interrupting the old thought pattern and immediately inserting the new truth, you begin to weaken the neural pathways of scarcity. This is cognitive fitness, and it's a mental workout that truly pays exponential dividends. But merely thinking differently isn't enough. We must anchor these new beliefs in physical, emotional habits that translate thought into reality. Mindset is not a destination. It is a rigorous daily practice. We have identified the past programming and reframed the core myths that held you captive. Now, we must translate these cognitive shifts into tangible, measurable habits that prove to your subconscious mind that the new reality is already here. This is the act of aligning your inner world with your desired financial future, bridging the gap between the person you are and the person you are becoming. The first and most powerful action to initiate this alignment is financial gratitude and appreciation. This may sound like a spiritual platitude, but it is neurologically profound. When you focus solely on what you lack, your brain is in a persistent state of deficit, activating stress responses that narrow your focus and impede creative problem solving. When you practice genuine gratitude, you switch your brain into an expansive, resourceful, and receiving state. Start a daily practice of listing 5 specific, Concrete things money is doing for you right now. Not just, I am grateful for my paycheck, but I am grateful that the electricity bill payment provides reliable light and power, allowing me to connect with loved ones and work late without fear. Be specific about the benefits of currency flow. This immediately changes money from a source of stress and obligation to a source of security and utility. You are teaching your brain to associate money with positive feelings, actively breaking the old, crippling link between currency and anxiety. The second powerful action is conscious financial journaling. This is not for budgeting, but for emotional processing. When you receive a bill, an unexpected expense, or even a smaller than desired deposit, do not just react with fear. Write down the immediate physical and emotional sensation first. I feel tightening in my chest and a knot in my stomach looking at this car repair bill. Then ask, what limiting belief is this feeling confirming? E.g., money is always unstable and taken away from me. Now, consciously rewrite the narrative. Speaking to the steward identity, this repair payment ensures my reliable mobility and safety, and I am grateful for the abundance that allowed me to earn enough to manage this cost. My wealth creation capability is greater than this temporary obligation. This process neutralizes a debilitating emotional charge attached to negative financial events. The third ritual is vibrational visualization. Most people visualize future success, but they often do it from a place of yearning and lack, which only reinforces the current reality. True vibrational visualization requires you to feel the emotion of the future achievement now, making it an anchor in the present. Close your eyes and visualize receiving a large, impactful financial achievement, perhaps securing a major contract or seeing your savings goal met. Do not just see the numbers. Feel the weightlessness, the relief, the pride, the capability, and the settled sense of security that comes with it. Stay in that elevated feeling for several minutes until your body starts to register it as a current, plausible reality. Neuroscience confirms that when you visualize intensely, your brain registers experience similarly to having actually lived it. You are literally rehearsing success and creating neural pathways that make taking action toward that success feel natural rather than terrifying. These small, deliberate acts, gratitude, emotional journaling, and vibrational visualization, bridge the gap between thought and reality. They are micro-commitments that reprogram your subconscious, signaling to your internal world that you are no longer the person who struggles. You are becoming the person who effortlessly attracts, manages, and circulates abundance. This vital shift demands a radical acceptance of a new financial identity. You cannot out-earn a poor self-image. All the strategies, budgeting, and endless hustle in the world will only serve your deepest, most established identity. If your identity says, I am a survivor who scrapes by, prone to setbacks, you will unconsciously manufacture setbacks and sabotage opportunities to become the thriving creator. This is where the true, sustainable transformation begins. With the ego, the most significant shift in financial mastery is moving from the identity of a striver to the identity of a steward. A striver focuses primarily on how much they can take or get. They view money as scarce, operate solely from fear and effort, and measure their worth by their current income or status. Their relationship with money is transactional, competitive, and often exhausting, leading to burnout. A steward focuses on how much they can create and circulate. They view money as energy, operate from purpose and value, and measure their worth by the positive impact they deliver and the stability they facilitate. Their relationship with money is collaborative, strategic, and expansive. Claiming this new steward identity requires deep emotional maturity. It means facing the uncomfortable truth that financial prosperity is intrinsically linked to self-worth. If you consistently struggle to ask for fair compensation for your work, it is often because you struggle to believe your contribution is worth that value. If you struggle to maintain savings or investments, it's often because you feel unconsciously unworthy of long-term security and stability. We must redefine what abundance means. Abundance is not merely a high, fluctuating number in a savings account. True abundance is a deep, settled sense of security, capability, and alignment. It is knowing absolutely that you have the internal resources, creativity, intelligence, resilience to strategically generate whatever external resources, money, you need, regardless of economic conditions. To solidify this new identity, you must connect your wealth aspirations to a larger, enduring purpose. Why do you truly want prosperity? If the answer is purely external, to buy a bigger car, to prove them wrong, the motivation is brittle and easily broken. If the answer is rooted in contribution and freedom, to fund my passion project and give it global reach, to provide unshakable stability and freedom for my family, to invest in systemic solutions for the community, that purpose acts as an unshakable anchor that pulls prosperity toward you with magnetic force. Ask yourself this essential question: what kind of person do I need to become to manage the wealth and influence I desire? A person who ethically manages $5 million is not just luckier than the person managing $5,000. They possess different habits, different tolerances for perceived risk, higher levels of emotional regulation around volatility, and, most importantly, a fundamentally different relationship with money as a tool for leverage and impact. Start acting like that future person today. The new identity embraces money as a resource for unparalleled good, a tool for amplified impact, not a source of corruption or anxiety. When you see yourself as a responsible, ethical, and highly capable financial steward, the world responds by entrusting you with greater opportunities and greater resources. This integration of purpose, self-worth, and ethics is the cornerstone of true, sustainable financial freedom. Now, we must lock in this identity with unwavering commitment. We have traveled from the anxious 3 a.m. reckoning to strategic adoption of a thriving new identity. The final, essential step is commitment, the intentional, daily decision to live from this new mental landscape. Transformation is not a fleeting moment. It is sustained momentum, powered by conscious choice. We will use a final, active reprogramming exercise to solidify the changes we have initiated. This is about establishing a definitive neurological circuit break and replacement pattern. Find a comfortable position. Close your eyes and take 3 deep, slow breaths. As you exhale each breath, intentionally release the last vestiges of the old financial anxiety, the shame, the debt, guilt, the scarcity programming. Imagine it leaving your body with the air. Let it go. Now, access the powerful, expansive feeling we created during our visualization exercise, the feeling of deep, unshakable financial security. Feel the strength and grounding in your core, the relaxation in your shoulders, the clarity and creativity in your mind. This elevated state is your default operational setting from this moment forward. This feeling is accessible to you always. Repeat these statements internally, not as hopeful wishes, but as undeniable, established facts about who you are now. I am fully deserving and worthy of vast prosperity. My intrinsic worth is non-negotiable and not tied to my current income. I am a powerful creator of exponential value, and I receive consistent, abundant returns on the strategic energy I invest. Money flows to me easily and consistently, from expected sources that honor my talent, and from unexpected sources that delight me. I am a confident, ethical, and competent steward of my resources, using my wealth for sustainable positive impact and growth. I choose alignment over fear. I choose abundance over lack. I am the architect of my financial destiny. Hold that feeling of security and competence for 1 full minute, letting it saturate every cell in your body. Now, gently open your eyes. Your commitment is to uphold this internal reality, regardless of what the external reality shows today or tomorrow. If a bill arrives, you react as the steward, not the striver. If an unprecedented opportunity arises, you respond with confidence and strategic competence, not fear and inadequacy. Every single interaction with money, from paying for a tank of gas to discussing your salary negotiation, is a high-stakes opportunity to practice your new, thriving identity. Remember this profound truth. The universe does not reward neediness or desperation. It responds instantaneously to congruence. When your inner world Your beliefs, feelings, and identity aligns with the prosperity and freedom you seek. The external manifestation becomes not a possibility, but a certainty. Your journey to financial self-mastery is an evolution, requiring vigilance against those old, limiting scripts, but you now possess a profound awareness and the practical tools to win the internal war. You are the silent hero, and the time for whispering apologies about money is definitively over. Step fully into the power of who you are, confidently claim your abundance, and realize that your financial future is not something that happens to you. It is something you consciously and powerfully create. The next major check-in is due the day you look at your balance, your portfolio, or your opportunities, and realize the number has changed dramatically, purely and simply because you changed first. Go forth and thrive. The profound alignment we've worked to establish, the shift from anxious striver to confident steward, must now be cemented into your neural architecture. This isn't the finish line. It is a launch sequence for lifelong financial evolution. The challenge now is not earning the money. It's learning to keep the money and remain psychologically balanced when your income and assets inevitably grow beyond your historical comfort zone. We must address a phenomenon known as a financial thermostat. Everyone has an internal setting, a subconscious ceiling of comfort regarding how much they believe they deserve to hold, save, or earn. If your thermostat is set to $50,000 and you suddenly earn $100,000, your internal system interprets the surplus as a threat of financial fever. You then unconsciously engage in fever-breaking behaviors, excessive spending, poor investment choices, or simply walking away from lucrative contracts. You essentially self-regulate back down to the familiar, if frustrating, level of $50,000. Commitment, therefore, is a conscious, persistent effort to recalibrate that thermostat to a higher, healthier setting, making significant wealth feel like the new, sustainable normal. Building on this, a crucial layer in financial self-mastery is the development of emotional tolerance for large numbers. Most people handle small amounts of money with relative calm, but when faced with figures featuring 7 or 8 digits, an immediate psychological panic often sets in. The numbers feel abstract, too big to manage, or terrifyingly exposed. This fear of scale is a significant block. To overcome it, you must actively condition your nervous system to be calm in the presence of vast sums. I encourage you to begin a daily practice of exposure calibration. Visualize yourself reviewing a portfolio statement displaying an amount that feels comfortably challenging, maybe 10 times your current net worth. Do not react to the number itself. Instead, focus entirely on maintaining a posture of serene competence. Feel the steady, grounded sensation of being a responsible manager of that wealth, not an overwhelmed recipient. You are normalizing the enormous, rendering the previously unthinkable emotionally manageable. Consequently, true commitment demands a relentless focus on creating a feedback loop of confidence. Belief is reinforced by action. When you operate from the identity of the capable steward, your decisions change immediately. Where the old self might defer to crucial decision, the steward takes measured, proactive steps. This doesn't mean taking huge, reckless risks. It means making smaller, strategic moves that confirm your new internal narrative. Perhaps finally automating a significant investment or consciously seeking out a mentor who operates at a higher financial level. Each successful, confident action, however minor, sends undeniable proof back to your subconscious mind. The new operating system is valid. The new identity is capable. This cumulative evidence dismantles the remaining pockets of doubt far more effectively than any abstract affirmation could. You are shifting from merely hoping for abundance to actively inhabiting the reality of abundance through observable competence. Furthermore, we must recognize that financial evolution requires embracing complexity with emotional maturity. The linear trajectory of growth taught in many systems is a myth. Wealth accumulation is often cyclical and requires navigating emotional turbulence. When market volatility hits or a business venture encounters a setback, the old programming screams scarcity. Retreat. The committed steward, conversely, views these events through the lens of long-term strategy and learning. This is the difference between an emotional, panic-driven decision maker and a disciplined, strategic investor. Your commitment must include adopting a recalibration, not devastation policy. Every setback is merely data to inform the next successful move, not proof of your failure or unworthiness. To lock in this commitment to continuous evolution and complexity management, engage with this final active visualization. Close your eyes and see yourself standing at the center of your personal financial ecosystem, a nexus of money flow. You are not chasing, you are attracting. Feel the gravitational pull of resources toward your value creation. Visualize funds moving through you and out toward your purpose. Funding education, supporting innovation, purchasing assets that secure future generations. See yourself directing this flow with unwavering confidence and crystal clear strategy. Your hands are open, not clenched in fear, symbolizing that you are a channel, capable of receiving and circulating resources for greater good. This is your life's work, to evolve alongside your prosperity, ensuring your mental landscape remains spacious enough to hold the vast, infinite possibilities of your financial future. Your sustained commitment ensures that growth is not just achieved, but permanently integrated. Now, consider how this profound alignment, the mastery over your internal financial climate, manifests when the unexpected strikes. Life is not a perfectly balanced ledger. It is a dynamic, often chaotic system. The true test of your new steward identity is not the consistent acquisition of wealth, but your response to what Nassim Taleb termed black swan events, those unforeseen high-impact crises that shatter the illusion of predictability. The old, scarcity-driven self saw every market correction, every unexpected layoff, or every catastrophic repair as definitive proof that the universe was rigged against them, leading to emotional freefall and reactive decisions that compounded the loss. Building on the concept of emotional calibration, a vital, continuous practice is cultivating anti-fragility in your financial mindset. Fragile items break under stress. Resilient items endure stress. But anti-fragile systems actually improve and strengthen when confronted with disorder. When you are financially anti-fragile, a sudden dip in your investment portfolio isn't a trigger for panic selling. It's an intellectual puzzle, an opportunity to reevaluate diversification, or even a chance to acquire high-quality assets at a discount. This shift requires actively training your nervous system to regard volatility not as a threat, but as essential fuel for strategic growth. Furthermore, recognize that the path to true financial mastery involves decoupling personal identity from temporary financial metrics. Imagine a scenario. You launch a bold new venture, aligning perfectly with your purpose, and after 12 relentless months, the initial capital runs out and the project stalls. The striver immediately spirals into self-flagellation, declaring, "I am a failure. My idea was worthless. I am fundamentally incapable of success." Conversely, the steward, operating from a place of deep self-worth, conducts a thorough post-mortem. The failure is isolated to the strategy or timing, not the self. The steward understands that the true asset is the learned wisdom and expanded network gained during the attempt. Consequently, they possess the emotional stability to pivot, iterate, or launch the next iteration from a position of enhanced experience, viewing the lost capital as tuition for an advanced degree in entrepreneurship. Another crucial layer in maintaining this mastery is the practice of ethical reciprocity. When you are operating from scarcity, every financial transaction was zero-sum. You try to maximize your gain at the perceived expense of others. This mental framework not only creates internal stress, but also actively repels long-term opportunities based on trust and mutual benefit. Now, as a steward, your financial decisions must reflect an understanding that lasting prosperity is built on synergistic relationships. Consider the negotiation for a major contract. The striver attempts to grind the price down to the absolute minimum, leaving the counterparty resentful and wary. The steward seeks a price point that is genuinely fair, ensuring the vendor thrives while still delivering value to the steward. This ethical stance cultivates professional networks that are eager to collaborate and bring you into their next major opportunity, recognizing you as a dependable pillar of stability and fairness. Consequently, your relationship with debt also transforms completely. For the striver, debt is a heavy shackle, a source of paralyzing shame and secrecy. For the steward, certain forms of debt are recognized as essential strategic leverage. They view smart capital, money borrowed specifically to acquire income-generating assets or to dramatically scale a business, as a tool, not a moral failure. This requires absolute clarity on the risk profile and projected return, eliminating the emotional drama. Conversely, consumer debt, which represents past consumption, is viewed with disciplined attachment and strategically dismantled, not emotionally obsessed over. The commitment here is to maintain emotional neutrality toward all financial instruments, seeing them purely for their utilitarian value in achieving your long-term goals. This internal discipline culminates in the realization that your ultimate wealth is defined not by how much you possess, but by the quality of your choice architecture. When the temptation arises to revert to old, comforting patterns, say, making an impulsive, emotionally gratifying purchase that compromises long-term security, your newly reinforced mindset provides a crucial pause. You are no longer merely reacting. You are observing the emotional trigger and consciously choosing the action that aligns with your highest self, the responsible, future-focused, abundant steward. This moment of choice, repeated consistently, is a definitive proof that you have achieved financial self-mastery. You are the commander of your resources, guided by purpose, regardless of the chaos brewing outside the walls of your internal peace. You have achieved alignment. You are operating from the potent identity of the steward, prioritizing purpose and ethical leverage. But now, consider the profound psychological void that can open after peak achievement, the often unspoken success paradox. Once the immediate goals, the debt clearance, the investment milestone, the secure income stream, are met, many find that the celebratory feeling is distressingly fleeting. The hedonic treadmill speeds up, generating a subtle, dangerous emptiness that whispers, "More is needed. This is enough." This phase demands a commitment to self-definition, recognizing that financial evolution transcends mere acquisition. The ultimate hallmark of sustained self-mastery is not maximum accumulation, but the intellectual and emotional discernment to define and achieve financial satiety. This is a critical juncture where you identify your enough, the precise point where additional monetary striving ceases to generate proportional increases in genuine freedom, joy, or impact, and begins instead to create management anxiety or ethical compromise. It requires a profound internal reflection. What dollar amount or asset level genuinely provides unshakable security and fully funds your highest purpose? Failure to establish this internal limit often leads to a financial form of gluttony, where resources are chased mindlessly, disconnected from any true, animating goal. Your long-term commitment is to honor that boundary, ensuring that you manage your money rather than allowing your money to manage you and perpetuate an endless cycle of striving. Building on this mastery of self-definition, you must prepare for the subtle, yet powerful pressure of the social architecture of prosperity. Increased wealth invariably introduces a psychological chasm between you and others. Familiar relationships shift subtly. Friends treat you differently. Family members approach you with new expectations regarding loans or gifts, and former peers may project their own unresolved scarcity onto your success, fostering resentment or distance. Your commitment involves mastering the art of the boundary. This means learning to say no to financial requests without guilt, maintaining authenticity in relationships without minimizing your success, and cultivating a new circle of peers who understand, support, and challenge your high-level financial objectives. This mastery requires a blend of deep empathy for others' struggles and an unwavering defense of your own financial integrity and personal peace. Furthermore, moving past initial programming demands the adoption of an advanced internal tool, intuitive decision synthesis. As you rise in financial complexity, the data points multiply exponentially, often leading to analysis paralysis. The commitment here is to trust an inner signal, the quiet conviction that complements rigorous external due diligence. It's the cultivated ability to pause amid market noise and external advice, filtering the data through an embodied knowledge of your deepest values and long-term trajectory. This intuitive competence is built upon years of diligent practice and emotional honesty, allowing you to recognize the subtle difference between fear-based hesitation and genuinely protective prudence. By actively cultivating stillness through meditation or focused contemplation, you sharpen this internal compass, making it your most reliable advisor when faced with high-stakes, ambiguous choices. Consequently, the final, most generative layer of commitment involves accepting the identity of the generational catalyst. Your focus must pivot from personal net worth to systemic impact, the replication of the mindset, not just the hoarding of the result. Your prosperity is not an end. It is a means to establish a legacy that outlives your personal needs. This means actively investing in the financial education and opportunity creation for those around you and for future generations. True commitment manifests as a deliberate, systematic transfer of wisdom, transforming your resources into sustainable engines of opportunity. This evolution shifts the metric of success from individual accumulation to the creation of robust, self-sustaining financial ecosystems, cementing your role not merely as a wealthy person, but as a genuine, contributing architect of widespread prosperity. This is the enduring meaning of self-mastery. Reflecting on this journey so far, recognize that the most profound transformation has occurred not in external metrics, but in the subtle architecture of your interior landscape. You have meticulously unearthed a deep, tangled root system of beliefs that once held your potential captive, performing a psychological excavation that few dare to undertake. That feeling of perpetual financial dread, once a shadow cast over every decision, is now receding, replaced by the cool, steady certainty of competence. The emotional current that flows through your relationship with money has shifted from a chaotic, reactive surge to a disciplined, directed stream. We have moved beyond merely identifying the faulty mechanisms of scarcity and have successfully poured a new foundation. This newly engineered perspective grants you the ability to view resources not as fleeting treasures to be hoarded, but as dynamic energy to be strategically channeled. You are no longer scrambling against a perceived lack. You are collaborating with the flow, understanding that every value created and every contribution made naturally accelerates the return cycle. This is the crucial integration, realizing that the pursuit of prosperity is perfectly aligned with the service of purpose, shattering the ancient, debilitating myth that wealth requires moral compromise or ruthless extraction. The heavy, often exhausting armor of the striver has been shed. In its place, you now wear the mantle of the steward, a lightweight, highly efficient system built on self-trust and clarity. This shift in identity is the silent revolution. It means facing the world's inherent financial volatility, the unexpected market shifts, the sudden demands, not with contracted panic reflex, but with the steady hand of someone prepared to learn, adapt, and even grow stronger from the shock. Your capacity to process complex financial information without emotional overload has expanded, like a ship designed not just to withstand a storm, but to harness its energy to power the journey forward. The cumulative effect of this intentional work is a quiet but powerful hum of inevitability. It is a recognition that the necessary habits, the refined ethical compass, and the newly calibrated emotional tolerance are no longer burdensome tasks, but innate extensions of who you are. The actions that once felt like massive, uncomfortable stretches, the disciplined saving, the conscious investment, the clear communication of boundaries, now feel natural, almost effortless. You have built a sophisticated machine where every component, from the smallest daily gratitude practice to the largest strategic decision, works in flawless synchronicity. What remains is the undeniable echo of this transformation, a certainty that the future financial landscape will be fundamentally different because the internal manager is now fundamentally different. You have resolved the internal conflict, making true, expansive success not a matter of luck or timing, but a guaranteed outcome of sustained internal congruence. This internal preparedness is your greatest asset, the definitive proof that true abundance is not found in external acquisition, but but in the unwavering mastery of the self. This mastery sets the stage for the ultimate, tangible manifestation of the life you were always meant to lead. The true measure of this transformation lies not in the size of your current bank statement, but in the silence where the anxiety used to roar. Remember that 3 a.m. dread, the paralyzing tension, the whispered fear that you were fundamentally insufficient? That ghost has been laid to rest, not by a sudden lottery win, but by the meticulous, courageous reconstruction of your inner world. We didn't chase the money, we chased the clarity. And in that pursuit, we discovered the core truth. Your relationship with wealth is merely a proxy for your relationship with your own worthiness. You now stand at the threshold of financial self-mastery, realizing that abundance isn't something external to be acquired, but an internal state to be cultivated. The real shift is realizing that the pursuit of a thriving financial life is, in its purest form, a spiritual and psychological discipline. It demands integrity, emotional honesty, and the willingness to see every financial transaction, every negotiation, every investment choice, as a mirror reflecting the strength and coherence of your commitment. The journey we have completed together has proven that the greatest leverage point in your financial life is not an investment opportunity or a side hustle. It is a radical, unwavering acceptance of your inherent capability to generate and circulate value. When you fully embrace the identity of a steward, you stop demanding perfection from external circumstances and begin demanding excellence from your internal choices. You learn to handle setbacks, the inevitable market dips, the unexpected expenses, not as personal attacks or proof of failure, but as neutral data points requiring strategic recalibration. This emotional neutrality is the ultimate currency of the successful, the quiet assurance that allows you to see opportunity where others see only chaos. The single most powerful implication of this shift is the dissolution of the success paradox. You no longer strive simply for more, driven by a desperate attempt to fill an internal void. Instead, you create from a place of enough, directing your abundant resources towards amplified impact and purposeful contribution. You have broken the cycle of confusing net worth with self-worth, allowing prosperity to become a joyous tool for freedom and creation, rather than a heavy burden of proof. This allows the flow of resources to expand naturally, unhindered by the subconscious guilt or fear that once mandated self-sabotage near every peak achievement. The final, lasting insight is this: the world does not need more anxious accumulators. It needs more confident, ethical stewards. Your financial well-being is not an isolated achievement. It is a vital engine for systemic good. By mastering your mind, you're not just securing your future. You're creating a temple for others, demonstrating that true wealth is built on congruence, clarity, and contribution. Carry the certainty of your new identity with you. Let the calm competence of the steward dictate your decisions, knowing that the fear of scarcity is now merely a historical artifact. Go forth, not merely to succeed, but to thrive. With an open hand, a clear mind, and the unshakable conviction that you are more than worthy of the immense prosperity that now aligns itself with your purpose. Your true financial life, the one born of conscious choice, not inherited fear, begins now. It is time to let the abundance flow, easily and joyfully, exactly as you designed it.